The views expressed on this program are not those of IntellectualRadio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. This is Lady ReShell of Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. And I am so excited you have decided to take this drive with me as we dive into our topic, Stronger Than Cancer. We are live on Intellectual Radio. You can tune in via YouTube. You can go to Facebook, or you can go to Spreaker.com. There's so many ways that you can listen in, but pop in at 5 o'clock. We have Roman with the drive at 5, and he always has some interesting guests that you can tune into. And we are going to have an amazing show today. We're going to give you some powerful information that will help you to be stronger than cancer. You can also follow me on all forms of social media. Just type in Warriors Talk with the number 1. And today's show is actually being sponsored by Allstate with Paula Kelly. She's located at 327 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois, and she can be reached at 708-758-3300. The show is also being sponsored by Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, with Pastor Michael Richardson. And at Emmanuel, we are building upon a solid foundation. This particular month, February. It has so many things going on this month. We have, of course, it's the love month for everybody, and it's also heart disease month. So we know that heart disease is the number 1 killer of women. So everybody should be wearing something red, whether it be lipstick, earrings, fingernail polish, just something that you can pop out red in support of heart disease. And also tomorrow, February 4th, is World Cancer Day. And this is a day that they have decided to bring about awareness and to see what we can do to help lower the cancer rate. So tomorrow is World Cancer Day. So if you know someone who is suffering from cancer, or you know someone who is a survivor, call them up, ask them how they're doing, tell them that you're checking on them and that you're glad that they're here. And it's also Black History Month as well. Like I said, there's so much going on this month, and we know that we have so many people who have contributed to not just African American history, but history, period. And one of them is the Black Panthers, and not the Black Panther movie, but the actual Black Panthers who actually they created a program to make breakfast for individuals. They had dental care as well. And they also have classes for individuals to take just to better themselves. So that's just one of the organizations that are out there in the African-American community that was helping individuals to become better. So as I said before, we have a great show today. And if you are tuned in on any form of social media, do me a favor. Hey, Angela, do me a favor and go ahead and hey, Tonil, hey, Melissa, hey, everybody, do me a favor. If you are listening in on any form of social media, go ahead and share the show, like the show, and then invite somebody in on the show so that they can get this valuable information. I have an amazing guest today that's going to be sharing some information, and she is a 38-year-old mom of 2 amazing teenagers. She is loving life and living each moment to the fullest. She realized that God's plan was much better than her plan could ever be. And she previously worked as a substance abuse counselor as well as an LPN. She is right now working in her passion as a travel agent. So welcome to Warriors Talk, Tabitha Foster. Hey, Tabitha.
Hello.
How are you?
I am doing amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to share your testimony and also to share some information with us that we can add to our toolbox so that we can become better individuals. So I appreciate you and congratulations on being a survivor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're talking about Stronger Than Cancer. If you are just tuning in, we're talking about, hey, Virgie, we're talking about Stronger Than Cancer. And again, I have Tabitha Foster on the line. She's going to tell us about her cancer journey. And I just wanted to start off with when you were actually diagnosed with cancer, Tabitha.
My official diagnosis date was November the 16th, 2016. I had went for my yearly exam, and I did not have any lumps, bumps, any of the normal signs or symptoms. The only thing I had was a bruise on my shoulder that wouldn't go away.
Oh, wow.
And that led to the mammogram. Of course, insurance didn't want to pay for it because I was too young. So after fighting with insurance for about 3 weeks, they finally got me in, did a mammogram. Nothing showed, and then I had an ultrasound and it lit up like a Christmas tree.
So I know a lot of women find their own lump, but ladies, so Tabitha is saying that there was no lump. She had a bruise on her shoulder, on her body. So this is why it's important for us to make sure that we are in tune with what's going on. And if something is going on more than 3 weeks, then we should be going to the doctor to get it checked out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you process this news, Tabitha?
I cried. Like, why me? Like, I felt that I had enough on my plate that why me? And then, of course, I went through the process of saying that they had to have gotten my test mixed up with someone else's. I'm too young. I still have kids, and I have dreams and goals, and I wasn't done accomplishing things that I had planned.
So even though you wasn't at that age for getting a mammogram, they say, okay, you should get it at 40. And I know at one point they was trying to change the age to 45, but Tabitha was well under that age. So that's why we have to, even though you may be under the age, we still should be making sure that we're paying attention to our bodies and push to get the mammograms, because sometimes they won't give it to you if you're not at that right age. They'll try to push you off to make it seem like, oh, it's in your head, or they think that, you're just hallucinating. So it's good to be your own advocate so that you can push to get looked at.
Absolutely. I constantly am spreading the word, know you're normal and listen to your body. As women, we often put our signs and symptoms that something's wrong to the back burner. We're stressed, it's a bad day, it's just a cold, and we don't listen to the signs and symptoms that our body clearly says to us that we need to go and get checked out.
So do you know how long the bruise was there, or just all of a sudden you noticed it?
I had the bruise for going on about 3 months. And then, of course, like I said, I went in for my yearly exam. I was like, hey, this has nothing to do with why I'm here, but could you take a look at them? And she actually ordered the mammogram just kind of as a, let's reassure that nothing's going on, as opposed to there actually being anything saying that I had breast cancer.
Did that freak you out? Because it's like, okay, I'm just going in for my annual. I'm not expecting anything else to be wrong, and they shouldn't be ordering a mammogram that early.
Girl, yeah. Oh, yeah. I processed like every thought you could think of. Like, oh, yeah. Mind-boggling would be an understatement.
How were you at, like a lot of us, as far as like accepting the news? Were you running around trying to get second opinions to try to figure out, is this accurate?
Well, my original thing was, let me go and get every book that I could possibly find and read every article about breast cancer to reassure myself that none of these signs and symptoms correlate with what I have going on. And then when I got the actual news that it was breast cancer from the biopsy, of course, then I'm pulling these books back out like, okay, this is what they're saying. What does this mean? So I felt that education was definitely the first step in my process and taking this journey. And then the second thing was reaching out to people that I knew had been through it and getting advice on things to make it a little bit easier to process.
So education and then talking to people who have been through it. I think education could be a blessing and a curse because sometimes we overeducate. I know the internet sometimes could have you already buried. My doctor told me to stop looking on the internet. She was like, don't go on the internet anymore. It was freaking me out. So we just have to make sure that, when we're looking for the information, we're going to reliable sources. And then also it's important to talk to people who have already survived this, who have already been through it, to help give you hope, and to know that if you see somebody else who have overcome and been through everything that you're getting ready to go through, it gives you a sense of peace when you know that you're getting ready to go through, where you can run to people and say, hey, this is happening. Is this normal?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Tabitha, what action as far as did you take when you got the diagnosis, now you got the education, you talked to individuals who were diagnosed with this, then what was your action with your medical team? What did you guys decide?
Prior to the cancer diagnosis, I also am a juvenile type 1 diabetic. So we had a lot of appointments going on with the doctors working with one another to figure out a treatment plan that was going to be successful for me. So it's that the first step for my journey was I completed a double mastectomy on January 3rd of 2017. And anybody that's been through that process understands the pain and the butt of the drains that you get with the surgery. With that, I had the drains taken out and put back in a total of 4 times. I got those out around May. And then I did 62 radiation treatments. And the doctors, along with myself, we decided that chemo wasn't going to be a good option for me because of the kidney damage that the diabetes had already done.
So not only are you dealing with cancer, but you're dealing with diabetes and type 1 diabetes, which is it's a serious disease. I have a 13-year-old that's a type 1 diabetic. So I know everything that you know what you have to go through in order to make sure that your levels are on point, so that it's not doing any damage to any parts of your body. That's a lot going on, Tabitha. What was your emotional life like? Like emotional, psychological, what were you going through?
I had my moments, but I also had an amazing group of, I call them my sisters, not just my friends, that truly was a support that helped me through the hard parts. And then I had a conversation with my pastor, and I brought up the why me question. So we discussed some of the principles in the Bible, and then I ended the conversation with, okay, I understand. Instead of why me, why not me? I can endure this. It's God's battle. He knows I can handle this. And it seems as soon as I started saying why not me instead of why me, doors started opening that have truly been amazing. I could have never planned for this journey.
That's true. I think some people, when you say, okay, I got this cancer diagnosis, you think that, all hope is lost. And then once you're going through it and you get on the other side of it, you're like, oh my goodness. It's like, it's almost purposeful for you to go through it in order for those other things to happen.
Absolutely.
So did it take your faith in God to a new level?
It's beyond. Prior to, it was like, yeah, I go to church, and yeah, I know God has helped me through things. But it wasn't until that moment that I allowed His control over everything that I truly started seeing the blessing was my struggles throughout the years. So it definitely turned my my entire spirituality over a new leaf with this process.
Was it hard for you to let go, Tabitha, and let God handle it?
It was. I was a strong, independent woman. Absolutely. It was difficult.
It's like the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen and things are out of your control. So it's like, okay, what do I do now? Because I'm used to handling everything. I'm used to making sure that everything get done. And as women, that's what we do. And then your time comes for you to just be still and let God handle it. It's like we have a problem with it because we're so used to being in control.
Right? Yeah.
So you did the radiation. Why so much radiation? I'm wondering because that's you said 62 rounds. Was that because because I'm sorry because you didn't do the chemo? They decided to do more radiation.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Did that play a part, Tabitha, with you doing your did you I don't want to get too technical back all in your business, but with the double mastectomy, did that mess up anything like because I know, radiation does burn and it messes up the skin. Some people it messes up the skin.
I had severe burns. I had really bad burns, and of course with the diabetes, I had a little bit of complication with those burns healing. But with the mastectomy, they weren't able to put the expanders in with the original surgery as they normally do due to the risk of infection from the diabetes.
So you had to wait.
Yeah. And then by the time I waited, all of the issues I dealt with the drains and all those issues, when I did go to the plastic surgeon later on, and he said, I would be giving you false information if I said that you probably won't have some of the same issues with the implants being put in as you did with the original surgery. So I opted just to stay flat.
Well, congratulations to you. It's a bold choice. But it's a personal choice. So
Absolutely.
it's a personal choice. And some people say save the boobies, and some people say, hey, the boobies try to kill me. So I gotta, you have to do you have to do what's best for you. And it's a lot. And knowing that and doing all of that, did it do anything, Tabitha, to your sexuality? Because you're married. So did it do anything to you? Did it take away anything?
Absolutely. Originally, your breasts or you feel are part of what makes you a woman. So I lost my breasts, and then due to the medication they put me on, tamoxifen, one of the number one side effects of that medication is it increases your chance for uterine cancer. So fast forward to September of 2019, I go in for a yearly exam and I had cancer cells present. So now I had a full hysterectomy. So not only did I lose my breasts, but then ovaries and uterus, they're all gone. So I had to find a way to feel beautiful again. Like a woman.
Yeah. How helpful? Because this has to be a lot on your husband too.
But this is the crazy part to this whole story is I actually married my husband after the diagnosis. And actually got to know him and everything after going through this process. So he's been absolutely amazing in this journey and reminded me that my beauty is a lot deeper than my breast.
Your beauty is a lot deeper than your breast. I like that. So Tabitha is giving us hope. This is Warriors Talk on Intellectual Radio. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about stronger than cancer. And Tabitha, not only has she dealt with breast cancer, but then going back for her annual exam, they found cancer cells in her uterus. So Tabitha has given us some gems. She talked about her awesome support system. You have to have an amazing support system because sometimes your support system can be the difference between you making it than your survival. So you need to surround yourself with some positive people who are going to pour into you. I cannot stress how important that is. Don't feel bad if you have to block out negative people, if you have to limit your contact with certain people so that you can heal. You need that. You need everybody around you so that you can fight. She also talked about education. It's important to educate yourself on what it is you're about to go through. Get the education on what type of cancer it is, what type of treatment that you have to do, what's most effective, what's the survival rate, and also talk to people who've already been through it so that you know that, hey, somebody else went through this and they came out on the other side. Cancer is not an easy diagnosis, but it's definitely not a death sentence. Angela said, I commend you on your choices. So this is for you, Tabitha. Angela is on Facebook Live, and she says she commends you on your choices. Only you know what you need to deal with.
Absolutely.
And everybody goes through, when you no two cancer diagnoses are the same, because people will tell you, Tabitha, they'll say, oh yeah, my aunt had cancer and this is what happened to her, but no two diagnoses are the same. Some people have other things going on, whether it be like high blood pressure, diabetes, different things going on in addition to the cancer diagnosis. So you're dealing with multiple things, but it still doesn't stop you from fighting. It still doesn't stop you from taking care of yourself. Tabitha, did you have to do like a exercise regimen or change your eating habits? Like, how did diet and exercise play a role in your survival?
Absolutely. I attempted, of course, I told myself I was going to exercise a lot more than actually happened. But the one thing that I have changed a lot of is eating healthier, more organic stuff instead of all these chemicals that our foods are so prone to have in them these days. As well as I kind of cut out red meat and try to stay more towards fish and chicken. Of course, with the diabetes, you already have a whole diet regimen there. But then, of course, like I said earlier, the kidney disease that came with the diabetes and then the cancer, it is definitely totally makes me feel better in my family. The more organic, natural products that I've been trying to get us all on board with.
And it helps when you have people that are on board and you won't feel like isolated or you're by yourself. And, everybody can live a healthy life, not just one person, but, include everybody in on it. I agree with you when it comes to diet. I had to cut out, and everybody's different. I had to cut out meat altogether. I'm like, okay, I didn't want to do the meat thing anymore. And some people, it's sweets. Sweets are my devil. That's what I call them, because I love sweets.
Girl, yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
Yes. I love sweets. So, it's different things that you can do. And, you just have to do what makes you feel good and what's going to be healthy for you. So diet is an important thing, especially with the diabetes and with cancer. We know that, certain foods are linked to a cancer diagnosis or putting you at a higher risk for cancer. So it's important. It's important to incorporate exercise if you feel like it, because when you're going through a cancer diagnosis, you may not even feel like exercising.
Absolutely. The days you just come home and sit down and just sleep.
True.
Yeah.
And there are days like when you're going through a cancer diagnosis, when you're first going through, you don't know what's going to happen. People could tell you, but you're sitting there like, especially if they give you the symptoms, Tabitha, you sitting there waiting like, okay, she had this side effect, she had that side effect, and you're kind of like waiting to see if are you going to get these things too, so you would know what to do. You can tackle it, get ahead of it, and it's a scary process. It's a very scary process.
Absolutely.
So Tabitha, what was one of your most challenging things that you went through when in your cancer journey that you can think of?
The most challenging thing was my very best friend. Her name is Martina. She was actually diagnosed with leukemia the same week that I was diagnosed with my breast cancer. And so we kind of fought together, we battled things together, but ultimately she lost her battle. That was the one that I think hit me the hardest was her fight. She wasn't able to beat her challenge.
Did you have survivor's remorse? Were you guilty? Did you feel guilty?
A part of me, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the scary thing when you're fighting, and because you get other friends that may be going, and so you kind of like cheer each other on. And when somebody loses their fight, you're like, wow, and you're like, okay, why am I still here? What?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What
She
God
was
has for
my
me.
biggest cheerleader, I felt, other than my daughter. I felt that she was my biggest cheerleader. So then when she passed, I was like, how am I going to be able to continue because my cheerleader is not here? But then I realized how many other incredible, amazing individuals that I had that was cheering just as hard the entire time.
That is one of the downsides to cancer. We know that all cancers are not unto death, but we know that everybody that gets a cancer diagnosis, we know that everybody they don't make it. We do know that. We've seen that. So for those of us who are here, we have to keep pushing and keep encouraging each other, and we have to make sure that we are not only spreading awareness, but we talk about prevention. So how important, Tabitha, does awareness and prevention play when it comes to a cancer diagnosis?
Absolutely, it is the most important thing, early detection, because ultimately the results of the staging and treatment options are so much better the earlier it's caught.
I totally agree.
Again, that's why I push to know your normal, get checkups, listen to your body. And if something don't seem right or feel right, get it checked. I would rather have them say there's nothing going on as opposed to letting it go and then it being staged later, or even to the point where there's not a whole lot of options for treatment.
And you want to have options so that you can be able to complete the treatment successfully. So the lower your staging is, then the more successful they say the treatment will be. So it's important to get in there early. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to continue to talk to Tabitha Foster about Stronger Than Cancer. So don't go anywhere, y'all. Hold on, Tabitha.
Okay.
All right, Facebook, do me a favor. Can you please share, invite somebody else in on the show? If you have a question for Tabitha, please put it in the comments so that I can read it when we come back.
Young Marv, BFL Teddy Gang.
And we are back. This is Lady ReShell with Warriors Talk live on Intellectual Radio. In the second half of the show, it's been sponsored by Mary Kay with Gloria, catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. You can reach her at marykay.com/GDOTSON. And if you are tuning in, we're live on Intellectual Radio and we're talking about Stronger Than Cancer. We have Tabitha Foster on the line, and she is a cancer survivor, and she's dropping some gems. She's telling us about her cancer diagnosis. Right now, she is a mother of two. She's 38 years old, and she is operating within her passion, and she is giving us some information on helping you to be stronger than cancer. Just because you get a cancer diagnosis does not mean that it's a death sentence, and it does not mean that all hope is lost. So, Tabitha, are you still there?
I am.
Awesome. So I don't know about everybody else, but I am enjoying your testimony. I appreciate you just having the courage to share your testimony, because I know that every time you tell it, it could be really emotional, that always having to go through it, relive it.
There's still parts of it that I tear up talking about, but not sad tears, happy tears, definitely.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Happy tears. Angela on Facebook, Tabitha, she said, "My sister, I thank God for your testimony. You have just given so many women life." Angela, she don't know how she has given us life. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you about it later. But Tabitha has given us life on today, and I appreciate this testimony. I didn't even know her testimony was gonna go this way, but I'm happy that it did. Angela says, they're no longer living behind the mask. She said, "Thank you. We don't have to live behind the mask, Angela. We do not have to live behind the mask." So I'm grateful for this testimony. Um, Tabitha's testimony is actually going to lead to a different show, because I think it's important to talk about the sexual part of cancer, which we don't really get into, because a lot of women lose their partners when they're going through cancer, especially breast cancer. They lose their partners, so a lot of them don't feel sexy. A lot of them can't find their sexy afterwards. They don't have anybody in their life to tell them that they're sexy. So I mean, that's a big issue that we don't really talk about.
Absolutely. It's definitely one of those issues that you don't think about until after it happens. It's something that you can't prepare when they take the bandages off and you realize your breasts are gone. That was a moment I thought I was ready for, but when it happened, totally different story. It was a hard moment right there.
Now, did you really think like long and hard that's, or were you just like, that's what I want, and let's just do it now and get the cancer out of me? I'm ready to.
Yeah, girl, I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, go ahead, guys, do what you need to while you're doing it.
Yes.
Go ahead and remove my appendix, gallbladder, anything I don't need. Just go ahead and take everything.
And that's true. That's exactly how it is, because you just want to be healed. You just want to be on the other side of this cancer. So do what you need to do so that I can get on with my life, and so that I can live. And that's true. We just worried about. You're not really worried about those body parts. You're worried about living. You're worried about what kind of life am I gonna have after this. But you're not worried about those body parts, because the cancer got those, so you don't need them.
Yeah. Right, I got my babies. That's all I could think about was my kids. Of course, now they're 16 and 17. They were 13 and 14, just hitting 14 and 15 when that happened. And all I could think about is I need to see them graduate. I need to see them going to college and having babies and getting married and all these good things that we look forward to as parents. So when it came time to make the decision on treatment options, do what you need to do, because I need to be here for my babies.
And that's important. You think about all those different milestones that are going to be happening, and you like, no way are they going to be doing this without me. I need to be here. Yes, I totally agree.
Yes.
I totally agree with you. What were some of the things that you and your children went through. Like, how did you end up breaking the news to them that mommy was just diagnosed with cancer?
I actually just sat down with them and, discussed what the doctor said, and I let them feel comfortable coming to my appointments with me. I definitely was very honest with them and didn't hide any of the diagnosis or the potential outcomes from them. And throughout the process, they were my rock. They kept me grounded and focused on why I was fighting so hard to get through this challenge.
Wow. We have people joining in on Facebook. Hey, Mary, thank you for joining in. Vernita is a cancer survivor. She had pancreatic cancer, and she said she had a double port removed. It's always exciting when you can get that port removed. I don't know. She had a double port. I had one port, and normally they leave the port in you for the chemo like an extra year, just in case the cancer comes back. The port is already there. But when you can have that outpatient surgery to have that port removed, it's like a celebration. So congratulations for getting that double port removed. I'm excited about that. So
Absolutely.
yes, that's you crossing off some things from your list. Like that's something you don't have to worry about. So if you guys are just tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio. This is Warriors Talk. We're talking to Tabitha Foster about stronger than cancer. And so Tabitha, I wanted to talk about when you hear the phrase life after cancer, like what comes to mind?
It's still a journey. Even after cancer, your life will never be the same.
I totally agree. Like you mentioned before, it's about your new normal. What does that look like?
Absolutely. Yeah. Knowing that it's okay to still have that fear in the back of your mind. But it's also okay to share your journey to help somebody else through their.
Why is sharing your journey important?
Because there's hope that comes along with hearing. Not that your story is the same as mine or the next person's will be the same as yours. But sometimes we just look for that connection in something that we might have in common that gives us the hope to continue our journey.
That is true. You do. Because you feel like, okay, this person is still here. This person is sitting here. And they just said
Yeah.
they went through surgery, they went through radiation, they went through chemo, and years out. And you like, yes, there's some hope for me. So yeah, it's important. It's important to share your journey, ladies. I know that it takes time to share your journeys because everybody's not ready at the same time. So whenever you are ready, don't hide your testimony. Share it with somebody else.
Absolutely.
So when you hear the word, because I refer to, I don't say survivors, I always say warriors. So when you hear the word warrior, what comes to mind, Tabitha?
The two things that come to my mind when I hear warrior is beauty and strength. Because regardless of your challenge, whether it be cancer or diabetes or being a parent or the workforce, whatever your challenge might be, the warrior is going to come out on the other side stronger and more beautiful than when they started.
That is so true. That's true. Vernita said she had her double port in for 5 years. Really? Wow.
Wow.
That's a long time. That's a truly long time. Angela says it's a real subject that should be discussed. Which part, Angela? Are you talking about the sexual part that we mentioned? She goes, that's very true. I must live and not die. We especially think about our children when going through this cancer challenge. That that thinking about your kids is like that's a scary thing because I'm like, you have other people that maybe could raise them if you wasn't here, but it's like who could raise them better than me? So you just know that you have to fight so that you can be here to raise those babies. So
Yep.
yes. So congratulations to all of those warriors out there that continue to fight. Because as Tabitha said, even though you're done with treatment, you still you're it's like you're fighting for the rest of your life. You're fighting to stay healthy. You're fighting to not get another cancer diagnosis. You're fighting to not even get those side effects that may come years down the line when you're done with cancer, when you're done with the treatment. So it's like you're constantly fighting for your life. That's why people say survivor. It's like surviving versus survivor, because you're still surviving every day. Every day.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So Tabitha, I know you have some things in the works. So what are some things that you have coming up that we need to know about or we can get involved in?
Oh, well, let me just, the one organization that I am involved with and I'm an active board member on is an organization called Send Me on Vacation. Of course, like I was saying, when I got my diagnosis, I was researching everything I could find about breast cancer. And what pops up other than this article on this organization that's going to send you on vacation, and they have a Revive and Thrive program that's going to help you understand now what once your diagnosis, you're done with your treatment. So literally, it was 3 days after I was done with my final radiation treatment, I get a call from the founder of Send Me on Vacation. She was like, "We've heard great things about you. We have a vacation next week. Can you be at the airport Monday with a suitcase, a bathing suit, and a passport?" I said, "Well, I'm done with treatment. I have 2 pennies to rub together. That's it." She said, "You don't need any money. All you need is your passport." So with hesitation, I take this vacation to the Dominican Republic. I'm going to another country for the first time ever with 7 women I've never met. And when I tell you, from the time I got off the plane until I left 7 days later, it was like they were the best friends that I've had for my entire life. They have a program that's called the Mermaid's Journey. And you go, you do meditation, you do counseling, and they compare your cancer journey with the journey of a mermaid. So there's always beauty in the journey of the sea. Sea being the cancer. And then they end the week with an amazing photo shoot. So from the time I got home, I wanted to do something for another woman. Somebody else had to feel this empowerment. So I have gotten involved with Send Me on Vacation. So any of my ladies listening that have had a breast cancer diagnosis, and whether you're in treatment now, you're done with treatment, whatever it may be, sendmeonvacation.org. Go on and check it out. They have a couple amazing trips to Italy, Florence, Tuscany, and they have a trip to Napa Valley lined up for the first couple of months of 2020.
Okay, ladies, did y'all just hear what Tabitha just said? She said, sendmeonvacation.com. If you have had a cancer diagnosis, if you're in treatment, go to that website, you guys, and check out the information, because who doesn't want a free trip, okay? And who doesn't want to bond with some amazing women who are fighters, who are warriors? I'm excited, Tabitha, because I want me a trip. I want to go on a trip.
Right, girl. Sendmeonvacation.org.
Yes.
I have those 7 ladies that were on my original trip, or my sisters. We talk about once a week, the majority of us. We've since been to Czech. We went back to the Dominican Republic. We went to Cancun together. They were at my wedding. So, and I call them my mermaid sisters. It was totally an empowering moment, to say the least.
And you need that.
The one thing that I got from that was finding my new beauty that I thought I lost with my diagnosis. So now I'm on the process of doing something similar, but yet a little different. I want to do a day of beauty for individuals going through treatment or after treatment, where we pick them up in the limo, we take them and their girlfriends, they get massage treatments, manis, pedis, of course, makeup, hair, and then we end with a photo shoot. But with this project that I'm doing, we also take the to go with the photo. And then my goal is to combine those into a book that gives the struggles, advice, what's helped them through, what's hindered them. And that way we can share it with others going through the same process. And that's what I'm working on, called the Breast Friends Club.
The Breast Friends Club. I like that. That's clever. If y'all are listening, Tabitha is doing some amazing things. And Angela on Facebook said, I would love to bond with women who have been through the same health challenge. It's amazing. It's a different type of relationship when you bond with somebody who has been through a life-threatening illness. And these organizations that Tabitha is talking about, it gives you hope, and it gives you a chance to kind of like start fresh after your diagnosis, so you can, walk into your new normal, on a positive note. So I'm gonna definitely make sure that I put these links on my Facebook page and in the comments, you guys, so that anybody that's on here, I know at least 2 women on here, I know that has had 3 that has had a cancer diagnosis. So you guys, I will be putting it in the comments. So Tabitha, thank you for that, by the way. That was some amazing information. But can you give us some words of wisdom at being stronger than cancer?
Again, know you're normal. And another thing is, remember that it is okay to ask for help. The one common thing that you will hear time and time again is, if you need anything, just call me. Don't be afraid of losing your independent woman status by picking up that phone to call that person. It's okay.
Thank you so much, Tabitha. I appreciate your amazing journey and all of the gems that you share with us today. Can you give us the information so they can stay connected to you?
Yeah, my Facebook page, Tabitha Foster, Tabitha, and then Foster. You will see my mermaid as my profile picture.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Tabitha. And I'll go ahead and put the links in there. Facebook said they enjoyed your testimony. So thank you so much for being brave to share your testimony. And I'll leave you guys with this quote. It says, "You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you ever imagined." So stay tuned, because Tone is coming up. Talking with Tone is coming up at 7 p.m. And he always has some thought-provoking conversations. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time. Thank you, Tabitha.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow @Warriors